The Alpha Sessions.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Alpha Sessions. My name's Amber Saqladi and I am interviewing the amazing Kaja today, and you are absolutely stunning. You look incredible. I'm really excited to be chatting to you today. I love the music that you have out, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to chatting with you. I saw that you are from Berlin. What can you tell me about your childhood and, growing up in Berlin, and what brought you over to London?
Well, a lot of people have this kind of assumption that if you grow up in bigger cities, that it's not as nice as growing up on the countryside or something. I really like growing up in Berlin. Like, I thought it was just the best childhood ever.
Nice.
And it was nice as well because I'm not fully German. My mother is from Croatia, and you do get the immigrant treatment, even as a second generation child. So it was nice to be surrounded by a lot of other immigrant kids that had a shared experience when it came to that. So Berlin for me was always, it's like my home to this day. I miss it a lot when I'm over here, and I definitely like whenever I'm back there, I feel at home for sure.
Bless you.
But I did come to London about 3 years ago, mostly honestly because I was kind of struggling with my music in Germany. Yes. I had just started to produce, and I felt like I was not getting taken very seriously, or that the entrance into music production in Germany was a lot more gate-kept and a lot more male-dominated than it is over here, which, by the way, I feel like now has changed quite a bit in Germany in the last 2-3 years, honestly, from my personal experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of why I initially came over here.
Amazing. Oh, I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying it, and I'm glad to hear that things have changed in that respect as well. Yeah. I've seen, you've got your background in production and in engineering, but I saw that you have a background in jazz and classical music as well, and I can really hear that coming through in the songs that you write. It's a beautiful blend of kind of classical and contemporary kind of music. How long have you been doing jazz and classical? Is that something you grew up with?
Yeah, I did classical music first because I played the flute, and you have to play
amazing
all of the scales up and down and the stupid fingering exercises, no pun intended. And it was just, mostly classical music as a kid. And then I think when I was around 12 or 13, my flute teacher, who was kind of very eclectic with his music taste, he recommended that I try some jazz with my flute, and it was really cool and fun, and I eventually started singing, and with singing I mostly did jazz in the beginning and then had a very brief period of classical singing as well. But it was jazz for me for a long time, and it still is. With my partner I have a jazz duo. We play at like weddings and things like that, and we play a bunch of jazz standards, and it's honestly one of my favorite things to do to this day. Like, I love playing jazz.
That sounds amazing, and it really comes across in your original music. How did you begin creating your own music and your own artistry? How did that lead on from the kind of cover stuff that you were doing with jazz and everything?
I think I started writing when I was 15. Nice. I had been writing like little poetry when I was like a kid.
You're a girl like me. You're a girl like me.
I love it. It's such a weird pipeline, the reading to poetry to.
Yep. It's a canon event. Yes. We cannot interfere.
Exactly. I basically kind of just started writing songs at some point. And yeah, I don't know. I honestly did songwriting for the longest time only, and I started producing about 4 years ago now.
Nice.
So actually not that long ago. Yeah.
Well, you got really good in that amount of time.
Thank you.
Everything that you've kind of made that I've heard sounds absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
The blend of those kind of styles, you've really put your own spin on pop and jazz and everything. I've seen that you describe your music as Gen Z love pop, and I was just wondering if you could elaborate for us about what that means to you.
Yeah, to be fair, my manager and I came up with that word together because I've always been very bad with branding.
I feel that, girl.
It's just so hard. So yeah, she was very helpful when it came to that. And I think the music that I have released so far, especially in this last 12 months, has been very influenced by Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, a little bit of early Miley Cyrus. A lot of I would call them Gen Z influences, even though I think you could argue Miley Cyrus is a millennial.
It's Gen Z culture.
It's Gen Z culture, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, because I'm 25. I was born in 1999, and I know that that's kind of somewhere in the zillennial area, I think, where you're kind of not really, are you Gen Z, are you millennial? But I feel like because I'm so chronically online, most of my humor is Gen Z.
We have a diagnosis, it's Gen Z.
Exactly. So I feel like that has been translated into my music as well, and most of it is about love.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, like that's a massive part of growing up. And,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like a lot of us Gen Z are kind of navigating love in this new technological age. And,
yes.
you know, it's fun, it's messy. And, you know, that really comes across in your latest single, Remember Summer Love. When I was listening to you performing it earlier, it was so fun, and it just exudes that kind of like, it'll be fine, it's chill, it's, you know, we had an experience. I was just wondering if you could kind of walk me through the creative process of making that song and the story behind it. It sounds like there's a great story behind it.
Yeah, I'd love to. Remember Summer Love is actually one of the 3 songs today that I performed. That is the only one that I wrote in collaboration.
Oh, nice.
I wrote it with Federico Astrologo, who's a really good guitarist and who I play with a lot. And we were both going to Rome that summer, actually. And it was a great holiday. And we went to Fregene, to the seaside. And we're having a swim and just a really good time all together. And then we came back to London, and I think that was 2022. I don't know if you remember, but there was this massive heat wave happening at that time. It was so unbearably hot here.
Absolutely.
Terrible. And the city is not prepared for any kind of heat. So we were obviously all just dying. So the song was honestly a little bit just about this kind of, it's too f***ing hot and we can't deal with this, and we wish we were back in Italy because it was so much better over there. So yeah, that's kind of the premise of the song. And I don't know if you listen to a lot of city pop. It had a bit of a resurrection in like 2021 as well on TikTok, I think. So it's this Japanese pop style from the 80s, basically.
Nice.
And I was listening to it a lot at that time. So I was like, let's write a song within that style and that genre. And that's how we kind of got to the song in the end, Remember Summer Love.
Sitting on the edge of my bed, hot and alone, I don't get it. Days like these used to be much easier with you. Now I'm trying to be all grown up, I'm stuck in the bank and I hate that. Waiting in line, but there's no ice cream at the end. When we were swimming after midnight, we used to stay up till the sunrise. I want your skin so cool against mine. Now I just can't stand the heat, and I got to leave summer love. My days were cooler when I hit it off with you. Remember summer love. Without it, August feels like giving up. It's true, where's my summer love? Everybody's sweating lately, worst year since 1980. I don't mind sweating, but I wanna sweat with you. Floating by myself in my tub, trying to take my mind off you and me, the sand, the stars, the ocean waves. When we were swimming after midnight, we used to stay up till the sunrise. I want your skin so cool against mine. Now I just can't stand the heat, and I got to leave summer love. My days were cooler when I hit it off with you. Remember summer love. Without it, August feels like giving up. It's true, take a plane back to last summer. Oh, you my lover, go look for cover. It's getting hotter, take a plane back to last summer. When I was younger, the world in color, I have no other summer love. My days were cooler when I hit it off with you. Remember summer love. Without it, August feels like giving up. It's true, take a plane back to last summer. When I was younger, the world in color, I have no other. Take a plane back to last summer. Oh, you my lover, go look for cover. It's getting hotter, where's my summer love?
The Alpha Sessions.
Leading on from the style of the actual music, I cannot help but ask you about your kind of clothing style and your
Thank you.
visual branding, because you have such an incredible sense of style. I believe in your own words, you described it as divorced Catholic wife, which I think is incredible, and I am so here for it. What inspired this kind of look?
I think, so I grew up Catholic, and going to church, there was these 4 sisters sitting in front of me in the row in front of me in church, and they were always dressed so sexy, but in a very God-fearing way. Yeah, everything was covered, you know what I mean? But the heels and the pants and everything, like they knew how to dress up in a very nice way without like breaching the rules of what you were allowed to dress like.
It's like office siren, but it's like church siren.
A church siren.
Yes,
that
heard
is
it here first.
It's a church. Yes, it's a new trend. Church siren. Yes, I love it.
Nice.
That was these girls. They weren't necessarily dressed like this. I think I got a lot of my style from Marlene Dietrich, Madonna, a lot of like 30s and 40s kind of actresses. I like a bit of 90s styles as well. So I like to mix all of that. But I think they're the inspiration to dress in a way that leans into my very, very Catholic roots, but is still sexy, I guess, and confident, which has definitely always been my style and my way of being, is coming from those 4 girls. So shout out to them.
Nice. Wherever you are, you have done us all a fantastic favor, because Kaja looks incredible today.
Thank you.
So yes, we owe you a lot.
Thank you, girls.
But yeah, kind of as well, like with your roots, you've got very strong roots in the technical side of music as well, which is absolutely incredible with the production, mixing and mastering that you said before. You are a woman of many talents and many skills. How did you get into the technical side of the music?
Mostly due to frustration of working with male producers, which I'm sure you feel.
Yeah.
I've been a singer-songwriter for the most time, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. Honestly, I've experienced everything from just not being taken seriously to harassment, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not the only one, because I hear it from women all the time. So I just, at some point, like out of spite, started producing for myself.
Yep.
And I can really, really tell you and any other like female artists, producers, whatever, my philosophy is genuinely, since starting to produce and since starting to do live sound, studio sound, all types of engineering, honestly, sound engineering. If a man can do it, it's probably not that hard. I literally mean that, okay? Music production, especially if you are already a songwriter, you have a musical ear, is intuitive and it's easy. And yeah, it's something you need to practice and get better at, just like anything, but it's not some like mysterious skill that only men can do.
Absolutely.
So I can really recommend, like, it wasn't a massive step for me, honestly. Like, going from playing music live all the time and like training your musical ear to producing something is the most natural, normal step ever.
Nice. I really think that is a testament to what a genuine and cool and kind of trailblazing artist that you are. Like, that kind of fierceness of, I'm going to do it myself then. Like, that's incredible. And I respect that so much. That's amazing. And, you know, there's definitely not enough women in the technical side of music. So,
yes, definitely.
You know, as many women can come forward and start doing these things for themselves and kind of taking back that part of the industry, that's fantastic. And like, it's so amazing to hear that you're, you know, leading the way in that. It's so cool.
Honestly, and there's a lot of other women as well, and I can only recommend to everyone as well, like, if you've had bad experiences working with male producers, I know there's not a lot, but look for those female producers, because we also want to work with artists.
Yeah,
and, like,
definitely.
I do it all the time and I really enjoy it, and I've been part of this collective in Germany, actually, called the Female Producer Collective. Shout out to them. Nice. It's 15 girls per year, or like non-binary individuals as well, that produce music, that engineer music, and honestly, I've met so many unbelievably talented women and non-binary individuals in that field. So really, like, work with these people, search for them. I know they can be hard to find, but it's really worth it.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I've seen that you produce and mix engineer for other artists as well.
Yes.
So if anyone needs any mixing, any production, any mastering, please hit Kaja up.
Yes, please.
I saw that you mixed for Floss.
Yes, I did.
That song sounds amazing, by the way.
Thank you. I'm glad.
What was that kind of process like? Did you reach out or?
We were actually in the same songwriting camp back in Berlin.
Nice.
And I was signed onto the camp as a producer. And this session was done together with actually one other producer and 2 other songwriters. So it was quite a stacked session. It was really great. And we only had 6 hours, but we finished the whole thing, basically. It was nice. We were a good team. We worked together.
Efficiency.
German efficiency. It truly showed in that session.
Nice.
And I just ended up doing some additional production, the mixing, for the track after that songwriting camp. But it was really good. I love Floss. She's just an amazing artist as well. So it was really nice to work with her.
Amazing. You have a hand in, it sounds like, pretty much every single part of the process of song making. You songwrite, you perform, you engineer, you play the flute and the keys. I can't help but ask what your favorite part of the song making process is, or whether that changes. What's the part that you look forward to the most when you're going into making a new track?
Honestly, nowadays it's production. I really, really like producing. I like making the beat. Recently, that's been my absolute favorite thing to do. I just love when I know I can now work on the drums. For some reason, it's just because it's kind of like playing a game or something. You just kind of align things. You listen back to it. You're like, oh no, actually this would be nicer. Like, it's kind of, you can work with a drum pad. You can put things. I don't know. That's the part I really, really enjoy doing. I'm gonna be very honest. I feel like songwriting has somehow become my least favorite part of the process.
That's interesting. Wow.
It's just because I overthink the words quite a bit, and I just. For some reason, that doesn't happen to me with production. Like, I can go back and forth on something, but I'll never be as hung up on the, as I do with songwriting, where I just get hung up on the lines. It was terrible. You know what, though? I completely get what you're saying, because I think with songwriting, it means so much to you. You want to get it exactly right. And if you can't quite articulate it, it can be quite frustrating. But with production, it's a kind of unspoken art form. Yeah.
So
yeah, true.
Yeah, I completely get what you mean. It's a love-hate relationship with songwriting sometimes.
Absolutely. A toxic relationship, one might say.
Yeah. Darn. Your song, If You Ever Leave, the songwriting process behind that.
Yeah.
I would love to ask about that, because that was such an emotive track. It was absolutely gorgeous to listen to. And,
Thank
you know, as an anxious attachment girly myself, I was like, this is going straight on my playlist. So I'd love to ask about the songwriting process for that song and the creative process. What did that kind of look like?
See, I feel like these kind of songs are cheat codes, because like I wrote this one about my partner that I've been with for 4 years.
We are the same girl.
We are the same girl. We need to go for a coffee sometime.
Definitely.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I wrote it about him because, like, honestly, this is going to sound very not pick me. What's the word for, like, there's a word for guys when they're too into girls. It's actually a bit sexist, that term.
Too into girls.
Like the kind of, like, if they follow a girl too much, then they're...
Like stalkery?
No, that's a negative one. I think guys use this to describe a guy who's actually really great to women, and it's actually
like whipped.
Kind of like the whipped guy. I think there's another term for that, but let us know. Is there comments to this? I feel like
there will be
know
somewhere.
In the comments. But you know what word I mean, I think. Anyways, the whipped guy. So he is kind of in a way like that. He's just a guy written by a woman, and honestly, we go through ups and downs, but mostly this has been the healthiest and best relationship I've ever been in. So honestly, what else to obsess about than like metaphorical ideas that are never going to happen anyways, and be like, oh my God, what happens when this person leaves me? Like, am I going to die? I might die. And so writing this song, I feel like doesn't really relate to the rest of my songwriting struggle, because it was such a genuine feeling in that moment. It was just like, okay, this is exactly how I feel. This is a perfect person that makes me very happy.
Yeah. If
this person ever leaves me, I'm just gonna die.
If you ever leave me, I think I couldn't breathe. I would cry on the sheets where you and I used to sleep. If you ever leave me, I think I would die. No going on with my life without you by my side. I don't think I could ever recover from losing you after calling you lover. I'm so jealous of the girls that don't have you, 'cause they'll never know of the pain I'll go through. If If you leave, I wouldn't be me. I'd be a fragment of someone that has been. I don't think I could love again. If you leave, I wouldn't be free. I would be trapped in a world that's stagnant, and I sure as hell will never love again if you ever leave. If you ever leave me, I couldn't look at myself, couldn't bear the touch of someone else. If you ever leave me, every time that I dance, I would lose my balance, won't be caught by your hand. I don't think I'd be meant to recover, 'cause God gave it all when He made you my lover. I'm so jealous of the girls that will have you. I hope they will know what we both went through. If you leave, I wouldn't be me. I'd be a fragment of someone that has been. I don't think I could love again. If you leave, I couldn't be free. I would be trapped in a world that's stagnant, and I sure as hell will never love again if you ever leave. If you ever leave. If you ever leave me, I think I couldn't breathe. I would cry on the sheets where you and I used to.
The Alpha Sessions.
It's so lovely. It's so raw and authentic and emotional. It's so nice to, hear a song that is brave enough to just say that in its vulnerability.
It's a bit embarrassing to perform every single time, I tell you.
You know what? Like, I am someone that really believes in the strength in vulnerability. Like, a lot of people feel that way. And to come out and just be like, yeah, this is how I feel. I think there's a real strength to that. And I really appreciate that kind of in songwriting. It's gorgeous. I love that song.
Thank you.
I thought it was absolutely amazing. Kind of on the other end of the scale, I saw your music video for your song Like Magic. And that was so cool. That was very sexy. I was just kind of wondering, like, what the creative process behind that video was. How did that come about? Was that something that you kind of storyboarded for? Who directed?
So the idea of the music video was because the dancers that you can see in the video, they're all girls that I used to work with. I used to work in this, like, a bit of a cheesy type of bar where they would have, like, dinner shows, basically.
Yeah.
And I would sing there and they would dance. They were actually, like, professional dancers performing.
Amazing.
There. Yeah, so
nice.
it was great. Like, I asked them to be part of the video and they all agreed, and that was honestly such a great experience. And then unfortunately, both in the editing and the camera work, you can just tell that the original story got lost, because the idea was basically that the performers are one thing on stage and another thing behind the bar or, like, in their changing rooms. Because I noticed this at work all the time. Like, you would get so sexualized as a performer, as a woman, especially if you were in a bit of a sexy outfit on stage. Like, there was just this bizarre attitude where, like, some, especially men, couldn't really differentiate, like, oh, this is a real person and this is just an act. Like, they would see this as, oh, this must be you.
Yeah.
And then it would sometimes get uncomfortable outside
Very
of that,
much so.
unfortunately. So the idea of the music video was to show, like, oh, yeah, this is these girls on stage and they're sexy and they're, like, performing and everything. But then behind the stage, we're all having a laugh. Someone's having a fight with, I don't know, their friend on the phone. Someone's, like, smoking a cigarette. Someone's playing cards. Like, it's normal people just putting on a show.
Yeah.
And I think that the person who filmed it, unfortunately, just didn't really get that story 100% right. And I felt like, ironically, in the camera work, it was very over-sexualized in the end, and in the editing as well.
Well, it was a great video.
Thank you.
I loved it. And you know what, like, like, because you do get that sense of like when it's jumping to and from behind the scenes, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the woman, the performer, the piece of art, and then you go back to behind the scenes and this is a person. And you know, like as a performer myself, I really relate to that. It is very hard when on the stage, you know, you're perceived too much by people that think that they forget that you're a person.
Yeah. And this is a job. And you're doing a job.
Definitely.
And,
you know, I think it's wonderful at the moment that Chapel Roan is kind of speaking on this issue so much. What are your thoughts on that and what she's doing for
I think
women?
she's doing great work, honestly. I think the industry has been very exploitative for most of its existence, and even outside of the industry, which is where I would say I am right now. I'm not a massive artist, obviously. It's as exploitative. People just expect you to do things for free. People expect you to just kind of put up with about anything with the vague promise of a career. And I'm so glad that someone is saying something about it, because obviously she has a voice now and people listen to her, and I think that's really, really good. Like, I'm really glad that she said the things she did.
Yeah, it's a nice time to be entering the industry when there's so many strong female voices talking about these issues.
100%.
So with your kind of own artistry, as you're moving forward, because we're all very early in our careers right now, and this is kind of the time when we're sculpting exactly what we want to bring to the table. What are your main goals for your artistry?
I guess because I think I'm kind of at a point right now where a lot of things are changing for me artistically. So I think I want to like clarify more who I am as an artist, and that's definitely still a search. Like, I can't say that I have figured that out 100%.
Oh, it's definitely a process.
It's 100% a process, and as well, like, I noticed for myself that I really enjoy producing for other artists, and that's something that I would like to do full time. And the artist thing that I'm doing is more of a playing field for me, where I can just kind of have fun and figure out like, what is it that I want to do? How do I want to present myself? Because I think I've been not having enough fun with it. I think I've been too like strict and too kind of hard on myself, and I just want to, I have 90 monthly listeners on Spotify. If I upload a song that doesn't really fit my artist profile, you know what I mean? Like, who's going to be disappointed? Like, this is the time to have fun with it.
I get you. I kind of have the same mindset for myself. Like, it's, you know, our listeners have as much fun as we do.
Yeah.
So, we owe it to people to have fun.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're going to hear it if you don't have fun, I think.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely. Kind of on that subject, are there any upcoming projects that you have that you can give us a little bit of information about? Is there anything you're particularly excited to bring out into the world soon?
I have another single coming up, though the release date is to be confirmed.
Okay, exclusive content, guys.
Yes, very exclusive. And that one is going to be a bit more within the realm of electronic production. I have some hardware synthesis on it as well. I've been experimenting with a mini Moog. So I'm excited to bring that onto that track as well. And this is actually an older song that I'm just producing now. So it's going to be a bit of a mix of my former artistry and my now artistry, and I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to turn out, because I don't know yet either.
No, that sounds great. It sounds like your production is something that's really experimental. Do you have kind of a production process? Is there something you start with, or do you just kind of let your mind do what it does, and is it different every time?
I think I'm a big supporter of reference tracks, so I like to kind of create a little playlist and then have a bunch of songs on it that I find inspiring or that I think could fit the theme of the song, and then listen to all of them. And then, you know, you kind of, I think creating music is always stealing a little bit. Like, you listen to these drums, you're like, oh, this is nice. You listen to that synthesizer, you're like, oh, that's cool. And you kind of build something together that kind of comes from your influences and your inspiration. So I think that's like my process, honestly, like starting a session with like just listening to the music, if it's for me anyways, but like also if I'm working with another artist, because I think getting on the same page musically is so important. So if you just sit down, you're like, hey, what are you listening to right now? And like having a bit of a, I guess like a reset, like a palette reset at the beginning of the session, and just be like, oh, okay, so that's the vibe, and that's the kind of, so I like to do that. And then honestly, whatever, like sometimes I start with drums, sometimes I start with pads, sometimes I have a melody in my head already, so I record that and then I build something around that. So every session's different.
Yeah. You know what, with what you said about kind of stealing from other people's kind of songs, I am a firm believer in that as well. I think music is all about inspiration. And, you know, as I get further and further into my kind of songwriting career and stuff, I just find that I'm just better at curating the tiny parts of everyone else's music that I like into my own thing that I call my sound.
Yeah, no, that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, like it is like tiny, I don't like to call it theft, but it's like, it's inspiration.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
You're inspired.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, that sounds really amazing, and I'm really excited to hear this upcoming single of yours.
Me too.
I will definitely be keeping tabs firmly on all your pages to see when that's coming. But thank you so much for coming in and for chatting with us on the Alpha Sessions. My name's Amber Saqladi and this is Kaja. And you look amazing, you sound amazing. Thank you so much for chatting with us. This has been really fun.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Find me, baby, on the edge of the sea, where I painted the door poppy red. Make me a fire, my clothes are soaking wet, and look out on the morning. The rainy autumn sky will stay like this forever, while the world is passing by, home by the sea. Beer garden on a Friday night. Our friends brought Turkish delight, stories from big cities they'll never have to see. And look out on the morning, the rainy autumn sky will stay like this forever, while the world is passing by, home by the sea, home by the sea. And how could I be lonely when you're here with me, home by the sea. And look out on the morning, the rainy autumn sky will stay like this forever, while the world